I started a company. Well, this is not my first company, actually. So, some words about me. I was an informatics competitor way back in the 90s. I won some medals. Then in 99, I moved to Sofia. I started my first career, which was in networking. And I became a CCIE. Keep it closer, okay? I became a CCIE about 2 years later. 2003, moved abroad. 2007, moved back to Bulgaria. But in the meantime, I lived in 4 different countries. And I moved back to Bulgaria to basically continue with my personal development, to become a freelancer and then start a company, build a product, things like that. All right? There are basically 2 types of companies in Sofia, in IT in Sofia. There is one type of company which is a multinational, which comes to Sofia, and the only thing that they're looking at this thing as basically a mine. So they find the best local talent, they hire them, and that's a resource pool for them, right? They hire a lot of people. So in Sofia we have HP, VMware, SAP, Microsoft, etc., etc., etc. Hiring thousands of people work for them. And the other type of company in IT in Bulgaria, in Sofia, are local companies like mine, like Marian's, like Vasil's. They're usually smaller, right? So you may have heard of some of the names like Telerik or SiteGround or Olimex, which is not in Sofia, but it's a Bulgarian company, right? For me, I see a very big difference between the way the big guys, the multinationals, treat the local community and the way these companies, the Bulgarian-owned companies, who have a business in IT, treat the local community. So the second group, they help with a lot of things, like Telerik. You may have heard of Telerik Academy. So that's basically an institution that provides education for free, with the only catch that at the end of the education they might have the opportunity to offer you a job, right? So that's the only thing there, okay? And a lot of other things. So there are conferences like OpenFest. There are a lot of things supported by this local community of companies, some of which startups like my company. The startup community in Sofia changed a lot a few years ago, like 2.5 years ago, when a couple of funds called Launch Hub and 11 entered the scene. And since then, there's been kind of an explosion in new companies, in startups in Sofia, mostly funded by these 2 funds. A lot of these companies are in the mobile application and web space. Some other companies, like mine, are in infrastructure software, and it's not only web and not only mobile applications, obviously. And the main reason I wanted to do this talk here is to tell you that the startup community on the Balkans does exist, right? It's not something that happens in Western Europe. It's something that we have here, okay? And to encourage you, instead of emigrating to Western Europe or the States, try and work with the resources you have. You have a social network here. You have your friends. Try and work with them, okay? Build. If you have the opportunity for it, don't work for a multinational. Work for a startup full-time. If you are at that stage of your career that you can do freelancing, of course do freelancing instead of working for a big multinational. If you have the experience for it and if you have the balls for it, start your own company. It's not easy, right? None of these things are easy. Working for a startup is, for me, is harder, but it's also more rewarding than working, a desk job at, a multinational. And building your own company is even harder, right? So being an owner, a shareholder in your own startup, being a co-founder is even harder than working for one. But it's rewarding, it's great. So my point is, build something great here, where your family is, where your friends are, and help us shape our region's brand.